No? Can you hear me? I can't hear them.
Did we lose you? They're still there. Oh, for some reason they muted themselves. Hello?
Can you hear us?
We can hear you, but you can't hear us.
Yeah.
Oh, we hear. Oh, for some reason you keep getting muted, and it's not coming from our end.
Yeah, we're not doing that on our end.
Weird.
Interesting.
So
okay.
just let us
Well,
know when you can't hear us.
We hear you now. Do you have any questions?
On that form.
No, we don't have any questions.
Sorry.
Oh, you're okay.
All right, moving on then. The vacant land sales agreement, we made changes to pages 4, 6, and 7. On line 166 through 168, the licensed professional inspection now has this additional verbiage relating to a feasibility study of the suitability of the property for buyer's intended use. On line 268 through 271, we didn't make any changes to that Disclosure Act, but it's much better verbiage now, we feel. Before, you couldn't tell if it was the seller or the buyer. Now it's clear that if a person is foreign, they need to disclose that they acquired, dispose of, or hold an interest in. So the Agricultural Foreign Investment Disclosure Act of 1978 is what we're talking about here. It's been around for a long, long time. We didn't know it at OREF for a couple of years, until about a couple of years ago, so we put that in there. We just changed a little bit of the verbiage to make it more clear, we feel. So no changes really there, just making it more sense. Then line 310, this also was a mid-year change. It used to say buyer, which was incorrect. This is gone through all the sales agreements as a change. And that's it for the vacant land sales agreement. I can guess you don't have questions on that as well. All right, the new construction sale agreement, we made changes to pages 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Line 173, we added upon receipt of the certificate of occupant. Now it's clear as to when the property is to be inspected. A little note here for you guys. Because the inspection period commences upon mutual agreement, this option for a home inspection is really for a completed home. If you were writing this offer or using this form for new construction on a home that's not completed, you probably will want to use the alternative inspection procedures, the new construction professional inspection addendum. And so I want to go to that section right now on this next slide. There was an actual correction here. In an earlier version, we had an incorrect form number there, but now it is correct. It is OREF 026. And so I already talked about my notes there. I think that's good. Line 227 through 228. The other sales agreements still say an amount not less than the purchase price, but for new construction, we felt it made more sense to replace those words and say the full replacement value of improvements, because we felt that was more appropriate. Because if the property, let's say there was a fire or something and it was not finished, you know, they hadn't finished the interior or everything like that, then it's only at the value of the property at the time for the full replacement costs would be the full value of that. Probably makes total sense and something I'm surprised we didn't think about sooner. Line 271, the other sale agreements have within blank days of mutual agreement line. This sale agreement simply states at time of final appraisal inspection. So I think many of you are familiar with the standard residential sale agreement. Now, we added a few years ago where it says that the sellers will have blank business days, 15 if not filled in, to have the proper smoke alarms, smoke detectors, blah, blah, blah. Well, on the new construction form, it was it's different, because when you're building a new construction, the laws require those things to be installed early on. And so we don't want to have to talk to the seller to make sure they're installed prior to any inspections or any within that 15 business day window. We just said at time of final appraisal inspection. So by the time this is done, the home is done and ready for that appraisal, everything should be in place. So it just made more sense to change the verbiage on this form. It is going to stay the same on the other forms about the blank business days, 15 if not filled in. And I always give my opinion, people don't ask it, but in my office, I recommend that my brokers, back on the residential sale agreement where it says blank 15, I say do 5 or something like that, because I think it's a really good idea for the buyers to make sure that sellers have the current proper smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors in there before they even do their inspection, not just waiting for an appraisal to happen. So if you have a buyer, I would put lower numbers in there, like a 5 business day window. And if I have a seller, I'm going to have that conversation early on that says, hey, let's just make sure we have the proper smoke detectors and everything in here so that when the buyers get it inspected, they can verify they're working properly. They are the current ones, not older than 10 years or whatever. So just thought I'd put up my little opinion there. Line 296. We felt this was a pretty nice change. It used to have 2 checkboxes, one for a residential contractor and the other for commercial/residential contractor license. Now it just says residential general contractor's license. There's no checkboxes. We just simplified the process on there. On line 331, this qualifies the maintenance schedule delivery to buyer with the words in accordance with applicable statute or regulation. So just a simple little addition there. And that's it for the new construction form. You got any questions on that?
Julie, I have one thing there. As a possible recommendation. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
For that little detector section,
Yes.
if possible, could the word final appraisal, the word final be removed? Simply because it can just, I know it's small chance of it happening, but if it's not there upon initial inspection and now you have to have a re-inspection by an appraiser, typically that runs about 100 or something bucks. And so that word final kind of insinuates that, oh, well, as long as when they come back, we put them in, it's fine. Well, buyer's still then out 100 bucks. So if that word final is on, then it's just by the appraisal inspection.
Right. I can hear what you're saying, and it makes sense. And I can definitely take that back to OREF and we'll make a note on that right away. But I guess my thought is that in a new construction, it was installed early on per code, hardwired in each, space, each room, each required space for the code to that, area. So I will definitely take that back and we can ask the committee what they think about it. I appreciate that suggestion. Sounds good. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you so much. All right, with no other questions on that section, I'm going to move on to OREF 005. That's the farms, ranches, acreage, and natural resource property real estate sale agreement. But I'm not really going to move on to it because there's actually no changes. So we're going to skip it.